Namaste, angels. This is the weekly general reading for the period of Sunday, the 11th of October, through Saturday to come, the 17th of October. I'm doing this reading on one of my favorite days of the year. It is 1010. Some of you know that I almost changed my name to 1010. It's pronounced Max using Roman numerals, MX. And one of my favorite pieces of scripture is John 10:10. The devil comes to trick and deceive and kill, but I come so that you may have life. And so I'm excited to be doing it today. I think the energy is going to be really good for the reading. We're going to begin with the dice and cocktail. It's 50-50 and romantic dinner. 50-50 could be splitting the price on the dinner and the cocktails, maybe going Dutch on the first date or something. I hope it's only a first date if you're splitting the bill. I'm old-fashioned like that. It can be about the give and take in a relationship, the need for balance. Like you got to go out and have dinner and cocktails. Sometimes you can't just be working all the time. We have to be able to both give and receive. So some of us may want to provide the dinner, but and the cocktails or the cocktails. But if somebody wants to treat us, we have to get used to being treated, because we all deserve that sometimes too. Also massage and yes, and spend money staring me in the face. All right, let's see. Spirit says yes. And spend money. And still romantic dinner. So I think if you're like somebody proposes a date to you or proposes something, the idea is to accept for a change and to say yes, or for you to be open to spending money on yourself and having a good time too. With the cards, we're beginning with temperance in reverse. I'll also tell you that this week, I'll talk about it in more detail at the end of the reading, but this week Mercury, which is located in Scorpio currently, goes retrograde. Tomorrow, actually, the first day for which this reading is 10/11/2020. All right. All right, let's get into it. So temperance in reverse is a card that says that, well, in traditional tarot practice, it says that you are probably getting some sort of like constructive criticism that you're ignoring, and it could really help you. It the way that I pick it up, not only is it about potentially a Sagittarius in your life, but it is potentially about an Aquarius in your life that is significant to you. It can be your own energy, right? Because of this water bearer on the front. I always see the Aquarius. It's a card for me of healing and restoration, recovery, recompense. So like if something was lost or stolen, or lacking in some sort of way, this is about it being like replenished and refilled and getting it back. It's a card of collaboration and compromise. So where there were differences, we decide to, take time to listen to each other, and or to simply move past the differences. We decide that they're not very important and they don't matter to our situation, and we can still be friends or romantic partners or business partners or whatever the case is, cordial at least. So it can be about apologies and forgiveness and all of those things too. Otherwise means generally that things should be going good for you, even if they hadn't been recently. It's like a turnaround. And speaking of turnarounds, behind it also in reverse, the Five of Pentacles, which can mean that recently you were having a difficult time, maybe specifically having to do with money or the material, just feeling left out in the cold, like you have nowhere to turn for the assistance or help or support that you need. And that too is turning around, and you should really trust your inclinations about this. Like if you're feeling in a good mood and upbeat despite what you've been through recently, trust like those feelings and the reasons for having them, and go with that, and don't allow yourself to sink back into that, oh woe is me, potentially like depressed and like miserable energy unnecessarily, because things are looking up for sure. Speaking of not trusting, Ace of Swords also in reverse behind these cards, and this can be a card about illusions. Like things and people aren't always what they seem. And we should, again, trust our guts and intuition and any sort of inclination that we have as to whether or not we can trust someone or something. Also, this warns us against get rich quick schemes. So, again, if this is about money or the material and you're thinking that a way up out of it quickly is through some sort of scheme, don't do it. It's just a phase, and it's coming to an end if we allow it. Like if we don't try to hold on to old energy. So again, don't allow yourself to slip back into that depressed Five of Pentacles. Just move forward with the transition. Also, this can be about, again, the sign of Scorpio. So Scorpio is significant in your life, and or the fact that, again, Mercury, which is currently located in Scorpio, Mercury, the ruler of the signs of Gemini and Virgo, not only located there, but going retrograde. I think it's 11 degrees Scorpio also on the 11th, if I remember correctly. We'll talk about that some more later, and I have it written down. All right, so now the cards are upright and more positive. This is where we can end up and where we can be if we go ahead and let go of the old energy, move into the positive, and not try to take the easy way out of a situation, but apply ourselves to a situation, trust our intuition, any guidance that we're getting, any inclinations, any gut feelings, all that kind of stuff, and move forward. Also, it may help you to make your environment more homey, whether that means your actual home or your body. You know how we say a body is a temple, it's like a home or whatever. So that, speaking of temples and representing like homes and places, this week also on the 11th is the last day of Sukkot on the Jewish calendar, and that is a feast day where Jews set up a tent, like a tabernacle, which is representative of making like a home for God. So this is your temple, if you can consider it a god's temple or a goddess's temple, and where to take care of it. So it could definitely be about yourself, maybe a pick-me-up if you have been feeling sort of down in the dumps. You get yourself something new, or you go out and have a good time, romantic dinner, cocktails, whatever. Spend money, enjoy yourself. Also, it can literally be about your home, redecorating, cleaning up, changing some things around, getting into feng shui. You like to, heal the energy around you. It can really be about sinking into our feminine energy. This is a very feminine card and sort of motherly, and especially if you're dealing with somebody who is a heavily masculine energy, even if that's yourself, right? Remember, the diet's 50-50, so we need balance in that area, and that can be what this is about too. All right, I'm going to stop. So this is what we had been experiencing or recently, but again, it's a 10. So the next card is that Ace of Swords, which we've already seen. After the 10 comes the Ace or the 11 or the 1, like the fresh start. 10 is the end of the energy. The energy was difficult to deal with. It could have been codependency, an addiction, betrayal. Again, there's people that we can't trust. There's situations that we can't trust. This could be the effect of that. But praying to get out of it. This is another card of healing and restoration. Major Arcana card, the Star. Card number 17. It too represents the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius, not necessarily as a person involved, but maybe the energy. Maybe it's about you breaking free from a situation that was holding you back. Aquarius, the sign of freedom and humanitarianism. I could go on like this for days. I won't. This could also be representative of Aquarius or the planet Mercury, or Gemini, which Mercury rules, again, for that matter. The Knight of Swords. It's about things changing very quickly. Again, maybe where there had been some difficulty, all of a sudden things are changing. We're in a position to make a decision, or we're awaiting a decision so that we know what our next move should be. So we're taking in information as opposed to, again, just believing something maybe at surface. Knight of Swords, or Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. So yeah, things are waiting to move into a much better energy, just like the Five of Pentacles showed us. Six of Swords. Like I said, I could go on like this forever. Here's the Scorpio energy. So the Mercury in Scorpio, the Knight of Cups. Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Be willing to take a leap of faith and, again, trust your intuition and all those things and go ahead and move forward. Now let's do some shuffling. So opening here to the Hierophant first. Major Arcana card 5 represents the sign of Taurus most directly. It's about tradition, doing things the traditional way, not deviating from that this week. So maybe you don't want to get too crazy. All right. It's about contracts, commitments, up to and including even marriage. And again, talking about freedom. 8 of Swords is a card of freedom or becoming more confident, letting any fears go, any fears that had you prohibited and inhibited and making you feel like you were stuck. Hierophant. And the 4 of Pentacles in reverse, which is another card of letting go of things that were holding us back. So a lot of people say that the 4 of Pentacles is just about you clinging too tightly to something, often to money. And I guess that's how I read it too, but I get more specific in that for me, when it's upright like this, it tends to be specifically like a living condition, a relationship or a job or something like that, that we're sticking it out because it's like the devil we know. So we're not happy when it's not really a healthy situation, it's toxic or whatever. But we try to find like the silver lining and the bright side to give us an excuse to remain in the situation. So like, I hate this job, but I get a paycheck. Well, you get a paycheck at any job, so you could go and find one that you like, right? One that makes you feel fulfilled or something like that. You don't have to work where they're mistreating you or something like that. But we make an excuse for ourselves. I can't take this relationship anymore. I can't stand, to look at this person anymore. But they pay half the rent. Like it's 50-50. That's not, again, a reason to stay, or even children involved and all that kind of stuff. We're just showing children a poor example of love, a toxic example of what love is supposed to look like. So that doesn't help them when we stick it out these miserable relationships. Same thing, living conditions. You guys get the idea. So in reverse, coming out of things like that. And the 2 of Wands, a nice card on which for me to end. 2s are about faith. And in terms of manifestation, we begin with a 1. That's the thought and idea that we think or speak over ourselves. And then with the 2, we have faith that it can come true. With the 3, we begin to see it taking shape. Even though it's not in our hands yet, it's more tangible. And then with the 4, we actually have it. In terms of love and relationship, the 2 of Wands is the twin flame or divine union or soulmate card of the tarot as well. So on that note, I will cut. And back to that Queen of Pentacles. I also thought about the Queen of Pentacles again when we landed on the Hierophant, because again, the Hierophant most directly represents the sign of Taurus. So does the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of any suit most directly represents the fixed sign of that element. So in this case, it's Taurus. And also with all the Aquarius energy, Aquarius's ruler, Uranus, is currently located in Taurus. So I think that may be something, although I don't remember anything from the celestial calendar in that regard. I think that may be some of why these energies are popping up. In any case, I'm going to get the stands so that we can see the cards more clearly. As I talk about them, I'm going to pull 4 for us to talk about. One that will most directly represent us this week, our energy this week, and situations with which we're dealing. The second, which is about surrounding energy, close friends, family, co-workers, things like that. The third is specifically work and finance for the week. And last, love and relationship for the week. So the first one most directly representing us, it is the Knight of Pentacles, maybe more Taurian energy. Again, I don't remember anything from the calendar, celestial calendar, about Taurus this week, but it's possible that something's up there. Also, this could be representative of Virgo, of course, also ruled by Mercury, and Capricorn as well. We have a bunch of planets that just went direct in Capricorn, and I think Ceres, the asteroid, does this week as well. Surrounding energy, close friends, family members, co-workers. It is the Moon in reverse. There is actually a new moon this week in Libra, I believe. Yes, in Libra. Of course, in Libra. That's where we are right now. New moon in Libra. So that could be what's going on with our friends. They're being affected by that, or again, our surrounding energies. So we'll talk about that more in a minute. Work and finance. Three of Pentacles. This is an awesome card for work and finance. This card like is representative of like a worker energy and labor and being compensated for your work. Rewarded, awarded for your work, recognized. And last but not least, love and relationship. Queen of Wands. All right. Some of us might be getting pregnant this week. Okay. Make sure everything's in frame. I guess that's pretty good. Maybe I'll lower them to this level. Okay, I think that's better. All right, so I talked a lot about the Queen of Pentacles, but I'm getting another feeling about her. So I just want to say I was talking about the body being the temple, and I really think that for some of us, this has something to do with some sort of sexual energy and or um, like preparation for that, like involving maybe even our, sacred areas, our genitalia. And since it is a very feminine card, maybe that's why I'm feeling for women more strongly. For example, you could be doing some sort of sacral chakra healing, or even I'm seeing even more like 3D and physical stuff, like could be a GYN appointment that you're going to, maybe again because you've been trying to get pregnant, and so because the Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Wands rather, can definitely be about um, pregnancy, or she's particularly fertile. So maybe like a GYN appointment or in vitro or something happens this week, fertility clinic, yoni steam, or vaginal rejuvenation, or something like that. Um, could be going on this week too. And I guess for men, similarly, whatever you do to, sage your penis or something, you'll be doing that. I mean, I don't know what you guys do. I don't claim to know what you do to prepare for that, or if you have, on a more serious note, I know I'm laughing, but on a more serious note, if you have some sort of wound or trauma, in that regard from which to heal, whether it's again a physical situation or some sort of sexual trauma or abuse or something, you could be doing that this week, and like moving beyond that this week, and sort of preparing yourself for preparing your home for for new energy, for positive things going forward in your life. Also, now that I think about it, moving over to the Knight of Pentacles, I think Ceres is located. I think Ceres does go direct this week, but I think it's located in Aquarius. So when I get to my notes again later, for those of you who want to stick around, after I go over the cards for the end of the reading, when I go over what's going on this week, we'll hear more about Ceres and exactly where it's located. But I think it's Aquarius, not Capricorn, in which case it could be tied again to that Taurus energy, perhaps, because Aquarius's ruler is located in Taurus. So more importantly for us, perhaps this Knight of Pentacles is suggesting that we're probably not that excited with our lives right now. And again, maybe it's because a bunch of us are coming out of like a funky energy where we were feeling sort of left out in the cold, or down in the dumps, or having some sort of financial difficulties, or otherwise feeling stuck and not very happy. And so we could, even though we're moving out of that, or we move out of it this week, according to the cards that we saw before, we could be feeling some sort of like unexcited about what's going on in our life. And it's important to realize that, if somebody's going to change that, it's us. So again, considering like that Eight of Swords in reverse again, that's a person consciously deciding, okay, I'm going to change this. Or the Four of Pentacles in reverse, that's a person deciding, I'm going to change this. I don't care if I get a paycheck from this job, it sucks and they mistreat me, and the paycheck's too damn small. I'm going to where I, am valued, or something like that. And of course, similarly, we could say the same thing about relationships and stuff. It guides us to learn something new, um, be open to change, which again, the Death card also said to us, not to not hold on to the old phases and old experiences, but to allow ourselves to transition into the new energy. The energy that's the energy that death brings, or that Scorpio brings to the table, is about endings, and transformation, like entering the week as a caterpillar and coming out at the end of the week as a beautiful butterfly. Just and letting it happen. So just being open to change. Don't try to hold on to energy that's trying to leave, or hold on to things or people that the universe is trying to remove from your life this week. Also, anything that you plan out, or that you're wanting to do, this is a good week for you to plan it out like an earth sign would do, and trust that you're going to reach the goals that you set out like an earth sign would do. So again, think Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn sort of energy. Knight of Pentacles, said to be the only knight in the tarot that always reaches his goal. He does what he sets out to do, because earth signs are known for, planning something out before they do it, and then remaining committed to the plan, not deviating from it. They might change it of their own accord. They may decide, okay, let me erase this part because this is a better idea, but they don't just go rogue, like maybe an air sign would do. Or maybe a water sign would say, "Oh, to heck with this plan," and get emotional about it. I'm just gonna go with which way the wind is blowing this week, or whatever. They stay focused. That's what they're known for. The earth signs. In love and work and other areas of your life, this is similarly like the same thing it is in general. It's like you're just sort of bored and over it. And in love, you may even decide that want to do something different. So of course, it's important to communicate with your partner and to see what they want, and whether you guys are on the same page and you're interested in saving your relationship or not. If you're single and you're bored with your love life, what does that mean? Maybe you want to think about whether it's time for you to get out there and meet somebody, or if you want to make your single life more exciting or something like that. All right, so moving on to the moon in reverse, it also has a similar message to some of the cards we've already seen. Whether it was before, I guess it was during while I was shuffling and stuff. We saw some of the other cards, particularly the Ace of Swords. I told you can be about not being able to trust something, a situation, or a person. And similarly, the moon in reverse says the same thing. And you could be the person that you should trust this week. It's like our messages aren't necessarily coming through very clearly, or we might not be understanding what our intuition or God is trying to tell us, or if we have a dream or whatever, we can't translate it. We don't understand how to interpret it. I guess it could be connected to 3D things too, like receiving information and not being necessarily able to make sense of it, and needing to go sort of deeper. Um, but the moon in general is this card that tells us that we are in a more psychic, and or like intuitive time. So this is a very strong week, whether for us or those around us. But I think it applies to everybody, because again, there is a new moon this week. I'll do a separate new moon reading. Um, so it is important for us to trust our instincts, even if we don't know like exactly where they're coming from, these inclinations, or exactly what the outcome is. Like sometimes you don't, especially when the moon's showing up, you don't have all the information. So it's not like it's not like earth sign energy. Like if you do this, then this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to be the outcome. Like the whole scenario in advance. It's like, do this and trust me. Just do this. You'll be happy that you did. Is the sort of message that you get. But even those messages with the moon in reverse are easily like misinterpreted. So we shouldn't ignore the messages that we're getting, but we may have to put more effort into trying to figure out what the heck the meaning is this week. And the same will be true of those around us. And there may be, again, situations that we cannot trust, and we certainly should not try to be slick and take the easy way out of any situations around us this week either. Similarly with work, and or a coworker, something may be unclear, and where we can ask for help, we should, if we need it, because we could, like, easily make a mistake if we don't understand exactly what it is we're doing, or why we're doing it, what we're supposed to be doing. And again, don't try to take the easy way out with something at work. With relationships, it's like a really emotional time and very easy to have a disagreement and to just like start going off on somebody, your mate or whatever, or have that happen to you from them, and just sort of not know why, and simple things can get way blown out of proportion. So it's just not a good week to be petty, and because you could easily start something. And again, it's not a time for assumptions. Like if you, even if you think or feel or whatever, believe something, again, having to do with your mate, you want to communicate and ask questions, because it's just easy to be wrong and say something or do something that can't be reversed or taken back. Moving on to work with the Three of Pentacles. Again, this is a fabulous card for the work and career area. It says that your work is appreciated, and you should just be finding yourself in a really good place in terms of work, a good energy. And if you're seeking employment, this is a card that says that you should be successful fairly quickly. So you got to take in consideration the climate that we're in right now. I can't say exactly what fairly quickly you should be, but you could. Those of you who've been looking already could definitely find it this week. You could find your job. And it should be one that you're going to be satisfied with and happy with, not one that would make you feel like the Four of Pentacles. Finances specifically, also, again, it's a good money, but it's usually, and the ships coming in, like on the Three of Wands, it's a guy standing at the end of a pier, and he can actually see boats off in the distance. It's like that kind of energy, like you can again see that something's on the horizon, or that you've successfully manifested something, but it's not quite here in your hand yet. It's like that sort of thing, but it's coming. Also, this is not really a card about like jackpots and windfalls. It tends to be connected to work, the work we've done. So the whether we've done any, the amount that we've done, the quality of it, all of that, it seems to be based in that. And that can be physical labor, or the work that we've done in terms of karma and inner work and outer work as well. And things, efforts toward humanity that please the universe. They could be wanting to reward us as well. So for that work, you're getting paid, you're getting something this week. And last but not least, again, love and relationships with the Queen of Wands. It's a fabulous card. Like just equally as perfect as the Three of Pentacles is for work, the Queen of Wands is for love. And if you're looking for somebody, this can be somebody that helps you to find somebody. So it could be like a friend hooking you up, might be an older friend. So it could be like your mother, or that says, "Oh, I have somebody nice for you," or those like that cliche. "Oh, I should introduce you to my son," like that sort of thing. Could be that. Even older sister, older friends, co-worker, or somebody. Just get out and mingle if you're looking. And again, if you are in a relationship and you've been wanting to get pregnant, the Queen of Wands is really positive for fertility. And if you're just like meeting somebody and trying to get to know them, or even if you're in a relationship with them, and again you're feeling a certain way about this person, about your mate, regardless of what sign they are. I mean, they may in fact be an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, or someone like into those traits or attributes. They don't have to be that sign. We're talking about the Queen of Wands energy is that of somebody who is like solidly in your corner, like really has your back. So if that's what you're confused about, whether or not this person really has your back, don't be. Although you should still communicate, and talk if you have questions. Do not assume this week. Do not make any presumptions with the moon in reverse sitting here. Bad timing. Also, although she's solidly in your corner, she tends to be a little self-absorbed, especially if she's a Leo as opposed to maybe an Aries or a Sagittarius. Or I guess they can be self-absorbed to varying degrees. Like, what about me? What about me? What about me? But even with that, again, this is somebody who like genuinely cares about you and has your back in this placement like this. And connecting it again with the Knight of Pentacles with regard to love, it's particularly if those of whom you're single, you're like not in the mood to be single right now. You just realizing that you are sort of over that. And again, you want to meet somebody. So it's a great time for you to get out and mingle. I just noticed a black cat. I don't think I ever really focused on it before. I used to have a black cat named Midnight. Anywho, do I want to say anything else about the Queen of Pentacles? Queen of Wands. I keep looking at her and thinking about this one. I guess we're good. Let's move on to some additional cards. And for that, this week I'm going to use my numerology deck. I've just been, a lot of my messages, personally, have been coming through with numbers and music this week. Just more so than maybe usual. So I just wanted to use numbers. I just thought about something having to do with music. All right. I just wanted to use numbers to maybe give you guys additional messages. So like not just looking at the card, but considering what the number at the top means. So this card is health, but the number 71 means that a person really wants to have like strong financial and social foundations. So that could be definitely a Knight of Pentacles energy. That could be why we're starting with this week. And it has to do with psychic energy as well. The 7, psychic energy, awakening, spirituality, God. The number 7 represents God. Number 1's about new beginnings. And so together it is about like growth in those areas. And maybe so health in that regard. Spiritual health, financial health, and then your emotional health in terms of, social interactions. And then opening to 66 and healing. So 6s are about love, equality, equity, and seeing 6 on 6, there could be a need to heal with regard to something having to do with a same-sex person or couple. LGBTQ person or couple. Seeing the 6 and 6 doesn't have to. Again, this is about equity and equality in general. So just it's 50-50. Could be connected to the die in that regard, and maybe learning to for healing in that area, to see each other as whole people, like regardless of gender and stuff like that. Even though I said at the beginning I'm old fashioned and I believe in maybe the man paying for the romantic dinner and stuff like that for the most part, or at least wanting to. Healing. And karmic completion, number 10. So again, 1s are about fresh beginnings. The number 1 is also about a thought and a word or something that we speak over ourselves. That's an idea that we carry into the manifestation. If we carry it through all the way to stage 4, it will be something successfully manifested. 0s represent cipher, or what they call God force, so that universal energy. And that's why this is karmic completion, because that energy is not within our control. That is of the universe. That is of God. These karmic things that come up. And we can only control our actions and reactions to them. So something that the universe caused to happen, to occur, coming to an end. You've done whatever you had to do. You've reacted however you needed to move beyond it. 14, moderation. So again, the 1s on their own are about fresh starts. The 4s on their own are about our foundations. So I talk about financial and social foundations here. Our environment, like the Queen of Pentacles, our surroundings. Oh, I never had picked her up to see what was behind her. So I'll just share with you guys that it was strength in reverse, and then beneath that, behind that is the Page of Pentacles. But when I went to pick up the strength card alone, I actually picked up this whole batch, and I was shown that the 2 of Cups is under that. So I'm just sharing that with you guys. All right, so anyway, back to this. It's a very earthly energy too. So similar to this Queen of Pentacles and this Knight of Pentacles. And it is about yeah, maybe cleaning up something in our environment or fresh start in our environment that's going to heal our energy that way. I'll do one more. And how coincidental. The last one is synchronicity. So eights are, depending upon what kind of numerical language you're using, can mean a few things. They're about abundance, and they are about karma, karmic energy. In supreme math, the 8 means build, destroy, which is like sort of like if you're not with us, you're against us. If you're not helping to build, then you're tearing down. So it's about being contributory, to a positive solution and to growth and to positivity. And again, the 7s are about God. And so this is building, maybe based on growing, based on like spiritual messages and things. So those are the synchronicities that are coming through themselves. All right, I will cut. And that brings us back to karmic completion, which I think is very appropriate. The next card is in reverse. It is 56, relationship change. So this can be representative of the cards that were also in reverse. So like the new beginning that the Ace of Swords brings, but it's maybe slightly delayed or something. I think it's interesting that it's blue, sort of like the water, like of Scorpio. But first the completion, and then we get to that new start, that new step. First the death, then the new beginning. So here we are with karmic completion, and then I will, same way I pulled 4 cards here for us, I'm going to do the same with these. So the first one, again, most directly representing us this week and our energy this week is, again, completion, 9. So 9s are about endings and completion. They're also about, service to humanity and like humanitarianism and so awakening in that sense. But like when you realize that life is about a higher purpose that I need to serve. So that could be what the Knight of Pentacles is going through. I'm bored with my life. I don't feel like I'm doing enough. Or I'm not serving the purpose that I was put here to serve. So I'm like sort of done with this, and I want to move on to a higher, situation, higher mentality. And the moon can help with that since it brings us psychic energy. So surrounding energy is represented by music. And be getting, again, messages through our music. I said that I'm using these cards because I've been getting mine mostly through numbers and music this week. So that may be a way that others are communicating with us, sending us sort of psychic messages, or the universe is showing us things. It could be songs or sounds or words that we hear, like we physically feel like we're hearing them with our ears, or that turn up inside our head. 3 of Pentacles and work energy. 19, pride. I wouldn't see this card necessarily as a positive, but I think it is. I think it's about having pride in your work because, again, you're being recognized for how good your work is. You're being recognized for how good and positive your work ethic is, and your commitment, your dedication. So you're being paid for that, so you should take some pride in that. We can't let it seep over into like a negative energy or like an ego sort of thing, and arrogance, but we should be proud of ourselves and our successes. So that's a perfect card for that one. And lastly, love and relationship. Let's see what it says. Moderation. It's 50-50. So we got to learn about balance in our relationships. Again, that equity, maybe, and equality in our relationships. And, the healthy feminine energy and masculine energy that we all have. But also, so as individuals, we have it, an inner masculine and inner feminine. We're all androgynous at the soul level. But then when we come together with other people too, there needs to be a healthy balance of those energies as well. Let's do some advice, and then I will go on to the other cards. So I'm going to get some advice from these two. It's two more tarot decks. And beginning with the Three of Cups, a celebration, wedding, graduation, or birth announcement, and the need to have more fun. I just thought about how quickly some of the things that I've been seeing in these readings and in general have been manifesting when I looked at the Three of Cups, because I just read last night an article about, I shared it on Facebook too, an article about a priest that had to leave the priesthood after being arrested for having sex with two women on his altar at the church. And I don't know why it just came through with this card, but it did. But I did talk about, I don't know, in one of the readings that I did last week, I don't remember if it was one of the zodiac readings or one of the collective readings in terms of the general, the love, or the moon. But I talked about like 3 ways in poly relationships. If you saw that reading, let me know what reading it was. Just, like if you don't mind putting in the comments what reading it was, I appreciate it. Anyway, the Three of Cups is a positive card. Other than that, it's about not that being poly is not positive. It is the card of celebration, reunion, reconciliation. So it could be people from your past coming back, which Mercury retrograde always seems to cause to happen. It is a card about the need to be social, to get out there. Again, if you're single and you don't want to be, you got to, get out into the world. The next card is the Ten of Cups. It's about being happy and stuff, but it is, like just surrounded by happiness and love. It is in reverse, so maybe that is a little bit delayed, or that is like delayed gratification. Like we could be really, really happy once we make these other moves. I opened the deck to throw the Three of Cups in. Happens to be going in front of Major Arcana card 15, Ego, which is the Devil, representative of the sign of Capricorn. And I will now cut these to sort of mix them up again some more. I mixed them up before I started the reading several times, but just to do it a little bit in front of you guys as well, although I didn't leave myself much room here. All right. And then we'll talk about what's going on in the week. Those of you, you know what? I think I'm just going to leave these 2 cards because I have one from each suit here. They were hesitant to come up. I had trouble picking them up, so I'm going to leave them there for the masculine. We now have an overall energy of the Five of Pentacles in reverse, just like we did before. There are no reverses in this deck, so I'm just going to turn the cards over, but I just wanted to show you guys that it turned up in reverse, as was the Five of Pentacles that we saw earlier in the reading. So now I'm just going to pull the first one of these, and then the first one of the Animal Tarot that I see for the feminine, for her advice. So it is this one. Putting these back. Putting them here. All right, so masculine, for your advice from the Animal Tarot, the Seven of Cups. It's time to stop procrastinating and to make a decision so that you can move forward with a priority. If you need to do more research, then do so, but don't overthink the situation. Listen to your heart. Could be tied to the moon somehow. Seven of Cups for me, although not a court card, very much represents like Piscean and Neptunian energy, like our head is in the clouds. We got so many dreams and goals and ideas and things we're thinking about, and that's causing us to not be focused like an earth sign and actually get something done. So it's a need to, come back to earth, so to speak, to get grounded like an earth sign and, actually get to work on something, one of those goals at least. It can also be about choices that we have, maybe romantic partners, jobs, different situations in our life, and the need to like narrow it down and pick one, or our desire, our soul's desire to do that. For the feminine, from the same deck, the Animal Tarot, our card is Major Arcana card 0, the Dreamer, or the Fool, which is another one of the cards that we saw earlier in the reading as I was shuffling the Rider-Waite deck. It's the card on which I stopped. I said, on this note, I'm the Fool, taking a leap of faith towards our goals and dreams. I'll stop here. You are starting a new adventure. Run free and take a leap of faith. From the Angel Tarot to the masculine, this is the Ten of Cups, that Ten of Cups that we saw. A contented and rewarding family life. Your emotional and material needs are met, and you have trustworthy relationships. So again, this is being surrounded by love. You may need to make a decision in order to get to this place, you know, to add something to your life or to let go of something from your life. There's something about these cats too, all these cats. The Queen of Wands and her cat. I'm not getting the message, but they're trying to tell me something about cats. You know, Tesla married a cat. I know that's random. I was talking to one of my friends, you know, like slash clients yesterday about all the like random information in my head. I don't remember what I was doing, but I was, you know, somewhere minding my business, not doing anything having to do with the Beatles. And all of a sudden I was like, I think it's John Lennon's birthday. So I text my youngest daughter, who was a Scorpio, and the hugest Beatles fan that I know. And I told her about it, and I asked her, and she replies, "Yes, it is. It's also Sean Lennon's birthday." And I'm like, "Okay, I didn't know that one." We were just laughing. Me and this friend were just laughing at all the, like, needless trivia information in my head. So anyway, getting back to the reading, the Nine of Swords, expecting the worst, self-fulfilling prophecies, and sleepless nights. Maybe about this leap of faith. Like, should I do it? Should I not do it? I'm not really getting clear messages from my, you know, higher self or from the universe. I'm not really recognizing and understanding the signs and synchronicities. Then take some time to do more introspection if that's what's happening, and so that you can become more confident about this. Also, if you take on this Queen of Wands energy in more ways than just love and relationship, she is, you know, she exudes confidence. She's a very strong presence, and that will help you to be able to leap toward this new beginning and these adventures. And from the numerology deck to the masculine, physical activity. You got to actually do something. Sure, for some of you, it could be literal. For all of you, it could be literal in terms of exercise, like getting out and doing stuff. But I think it also translates to other areas of your life, of like in terms, you know, your surrounding energies. You got to get out and, you know, be with these people. You got to do something with regard to your relationships, your work, whatever it is. You got to do something at your job. That's how you get this payment. That's how you get this recognition. That's how you earn it. You deserve it from what you've done. Your relationships, you want them to be happy and healthy. You have to physically do something for that to happen. You're single, you got to physically do something like getting out there to meet somebody. So I think it's coming through for me that way too. And I guess in connection with this, you got to do something, like make a decision so that you can end up happy like this, fulfilled. And last but not least, the feminine. It is another 7 and personal growth. So as we talked about with the new beginning, the fresh start is because we completed something else. So that is the indication of growth. And as I said in the beginning of this part of the reading, the Knight of Pentacles and also this 9 is about a desire to grow spiritually, and again, maybe toward your higher purpose and good toward the world. So that's what you're working on this week. That's what you're working on this week. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. If you don't want to hear what's going on this week, I appreciate you for watching the reading portion. Namaste. Thank you. Like, share, subscribe, all those things. If you're not a subscriber and you want to become one, please do hit both the subscribe button and the bell button so that hopefully you'll get your notifications. I didn't talk about it at the beginning of the reading as I sometimes do, but I have tremendous problems with my YouTube channel. In general, like if you go on there, you'll see in my community tab, I shared like a screenshot from YouTube where they're talking about some of the bullshit that goes on in my channel. So definitely hit both buttons. I appreciate it. All right, so now what is going on this week? I'm gonna just grab my laptop and I'm lagging in real quick. And here we go. So on the Christian calendar, we are beginning with the 12th. Monday the 12th is the feast day of Our Lady of the Pillar. Now you might say, Queen. Those of you who watch me with any kind of regularity, you know that I always say the numbers associated with Mary are primarily 6 and 9 and 13. 6, 9, and 13. Now for all of these characters, of course 11 is a familiar number that comes up with them all. What are some other universal? 7 for God could come up for any and all of them. For Mary, you know, like on a personal level, for Mother, any variation of mother that you see. You're going to see the 6, you're going to see the 9, you're going to see the 13. Um, but this is on the 12th because on the 13th she already has Our Lady of Fatima. So some of you may be saying, what do you mean? I thought Our Lady of Fatima was in the spring. Yes, it is. The first Our Lady of Fatima, the first celebration of Our Lady of Fatima occurs on May 13th. And then for 6 months, I told you this, Mary or mother is associated with the number 6. For 6 months, every month on the 13th, there is an apparition of Our Lady of Fatima that took place in the year 1917 or 99. So there's the other number that I said is associated with her. And here's the 13. Again, October 13th is the feast day of Our Lady of Fatima. So they couldn't both be on the same day. Our Lady of the Pillar is on the 12th. So for more about it, I brought up this page. It was the first page that came up, and I could tell that it was like a Latin page. And it's Hispanic Heritage Month, and this is actually a Hispanic or a Latin apparition of Mary to Hispanic people or to Spaniards specifically. So I said, you know what? Let me use this page. Okay, so I'm not completely unfamiliar with it, but I think some of you will like it, especially if you're into this sort of thing and you're into Mary and you want to read up more about it. There's so much information here. Yeah, there's so much information here. So the name of the page is JEHANNEDARC.org. JEHANNEDARC.org. Our Lady of the Pillar. What do you know about Our Lady of the Pillar? Have you heard of her? Except for Hispanic peoples, especially Spaniards and lovers of Hispanidad, she is most likely not as widely known as the Blessed Virgin Mary of other famous shrines. Yet her story predates the Gospels and was told long before the Gospels were written. This is an interesting story, seemingly unbelievable, about Mary's first apparition in history. The tradition tells us that 7 years, so here's the 7, after her death, Jesus, on January 2nd in the year 40 AD, 7 years after the death of Jesus, I'm sorry, not after her death, on January 2nd, 40 AD, the apostle, St. James the Elder, brother of St. John, sat tired and disappointed by the bank of the Ebro River in what is now Zaragoza, Spain. The people of the Roman province of Hispania, Spain, and the Iberian Peninsula were not open and receptive to the good news of Jesus, and St. James was ready to give up his efforts to evangelize them. On that day, the Blessed Virgin, so he was like, I'm tired of trying to meet these people. I forget it, I give up. So on that day, the Blessed Virgin Mary, still living in Palestine, appeared to James atop a column or pillar of stone. With encouraging words, she assured him that the people of Hispania would become Christians and that their faith would be as strong and durable as the pillar on which she stood. To remember the visit and promise of the Virgin Mary, the first Marian shrine was built around the pillar, and James began to convert the pagans of early Spain. Skepticism. Many will automatically think this is just another pious myth among many Catholic legends and an interesting story for tourist guidebooks or another excuse for celebrating a week-long fiesta around the time of the Feast of Our Lady of the Pillar, which is celebrated on October 12th. Some will suspect that this is simply one more occasion for selling glitzy, chintzy Marian souvenirs. Why would an enlightened person of the modern era believe such a story? Yet neither natural nor religious reasoning have been able to discredit and disregard the story of Mary of the Pillar, and to relegate her to unbelief and something unworthy of genuine devotion. On the positive side, it is interesting to note that the German Augustin stigmatist, a stigmata is when you appear with the signs of Jesus, like your wrists split open and your ankles and they bleed. So this is a stigmatist from Germany, and a visionary of the early 19th century, 19 a number associated with Father energy, God the Father. Blessed Anne Catherine Emmerich comments on Mary of the Pillar's appearance to James. With rich detail, she describes the Zaragoza event in chapter 14 of the life of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Some, even with scientific reasoning, might dismiss any claims of sincere devotion of Marian devotees. The story of Our Lady of the Pillar does seem unbelievable unless you grew up with it or have an unshakable faith. And anyone who was raised in Zaragoza or somewhere in Spain, anyone who has grown up knowing Our Lady of the Pillar is intimately linked to her as any Mexican person is to Our Lady of Guadalupe or any Irish Catholic is to Our Lady of Knock. The same is true of Lourdes and the French, or Fatima of the Portuguese, or Czechchoa of the Polish. The reality. For devotees of these and other Marian apparitions, Mary is not only the mother of Jesus and the church, she is above all their mother and our mother. Some might even be lapsed Catholics, but they're still at least once a year on her feast day there to visit her church and to pray to her. Our Lady of the Pillar has a special place in the lives of many, not the least of which are those who bear her name. In Spain and in Latin America, the name Pilar is commonly given to girls at baptism. At one time in Spain, almost everyone wore a medal of Nuestra Señora de Pilar. Our Lady of the Pillar is also immensely important to the history and mission of several religious congregations and movements, especially the Marianist family founded by the Blessed William Joseph Chamidale. And it goes, this is going to go on and on and on. So again, if you're interested in reading more, I suggest you go to this page. They got stuff that's like year by year by year, all the timeline basically all mapped out here and everything. I'm going to move on though. I'm not going to talk about Our Lady of Fatima because I talked about her in May and I talked about her in June when she made the huge apparition. So just know, all I'm going to say is that every month from May through October for 6 months, we celebrate Our Lady of Fatima on the 13th. So this is the last one for this year, is the 13th. So moving on to the Jewish calendar, again, the 11th, the first day for which this reading is the 9th day of Sukkot, the Feast of Tabernacles. And I already talked about Sukkot, I think 2 weeks in a row. So I'm not going to talk about that either. Moving on to the planetary calendar. Our reading starts on the 11th. On the 12th, we have our first event. At 3:06 a.m., Jupiter will be sextile Neptune. Jupiter will be at 18 degrees Capricorn. Oh, so maybe that's the reason. Okay. October 13th, it's the 13th, not the 11th. The 13th, the same day as Our Lady of Fatima. This is interesting. At 9:05 p.m., Mercury indeed goes retrograde, 11 degrees Scorpio. So I had that part right. And that's the last event for this week. So just to tell us a little bit more about what it means for Mercury to be retrograde in Scorpio, I've gone to www.tarot.com, Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. When Mercury retrogrades through the sign of Scorpio, issues of honesty and intimacy arise. Okay, so now it makes sense that the way the cards fell, that there were cards that show us that we might not be able to trust something, and also the sexual thing that I was picking up about from the Queen of Pentacles. Intimacy and honesty. All right, so we already saw that in the cards. Secrets and lies we've been trying to hide are exposed. That could come with the moon. Or we may experience yet another fallout from a previous deceit or betrayal. That too can come with the moon. The key quality of any Mercury retrograde is that it offers us a second chance to reconnect with people, correct errors and reconnect with people. So like the 10 of Cups and also the 3 of Cups with which we started. And to absorb information that we didn't get the first time around. During this, in dense, dark Scorpio, however, requires us to stay calm in what can feel like threatening situations.
This is a time to learn that thoughts and reality are not the same thing. We can and should question facts and conclusions that come from the things that we see and hear. And it goes on to talk about what it means if you were born with Mercury in Scorpio. But I'm going to end there. Hope you guys have enjoyed the reading. Again, if you did, please give it a thumbs up. Also, share, comment, subscribe by hitting both the subscribe button and the bell button. I do appreciate it. And if you don't do those things and you watch the reading, I still appreciate it. Thank you. Namaste.